Another exciting face-to-face match will happen in this ring. 3 rounds of boxing. This is Suntukan ng Mga Sikat, live via pay-per-view www.bloggerstv.com. This match will feature 2 strong and impressive fighters. Let me introduce the fighters first. From the blue corner, standing 5'5", weighing in 135 pounds. The upstart from Team Luzon, member of Manila Boys Capital City, yeah, Billy Jack. You want to know why? Sanchez!
Tayo na mabigat dito. Oo. Ito talaga, makakita tayo. Dito tayo makakita tayo. Ito. Sa wakas, mga kaibigan, makikita na rin natin si Billy Jack kung napapatunayan sa mga tao na malakas ang Capital City. Dito na yun. Ano hintay ako dyan? Kasi men, parang ano eh, Manila Produce ito, Visaya eh. So, syempre mananalo ka? Mananalo ka? Syempre, surpult na kailangan yung mga laban. Hindi hindi nga natuloy dahil may problema ako. Hindi meron sa akin Chicky Choppy lang. Ano ba? Legit. This night is my night. Not for you, BOYBAGSIK. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, this night is my night, bro. Capital City. Manila City, Capital City, yeah. Yeah, let's go! Capital City, yeah. Pero sa totoo lang, hindi biro ang kalaban dito ni Billy Jack Sanchez, mga kaibigan. Dahil si BOYBAGSIK represents Visaya, mga kaibigan.
Parehas ang bigat ko na boksingero, kaya pagkatang laban.
Para sa Tito Vince, kanino ka dito?
Mayroon pa din sunod.
Mayroon.
Solid
Tingnan
training.
natin, mga kaibigan.
Ikaw pare, Boy, kayo na dito.
Para sa akin, since taga Manila ako, hindi ako magiging bias.
5'3", weighing in 110 pounds, from Negros Occidental, Bagsik the Grappler, BOYBAGSIK!
Bakit nag-grappler ka? Ayan na! Umiitan na si BOYBAGSIK. At natubor na sa kanyang kuya.
BOYBAGSIK! BOYBAGSIK! BOYBAGSIK!
Yan! Ano mo masasabi mo ngayon nalaban ka na?
Fuck you! Fuck you!
Billy Jack.
Fuck you! Oh! Parang na-shoutout ka! Parang shoutout ka!
What did you say? This is your night. You are mistaken, boy. It's my night!
You are mistaken daw sa
You're mistaken! Yes sir, let's go! Ako walang halong bias, mga buddy. Gusto ko manalo ang pagiging ang Visaya dito. At the same time, gusto ko rin makita kung anong papakita ni Billy Jack Sanchez dito, mga kaibigan.
Ang nakikita dito si Billy Jack. Hindi yata tumigil sa training to.
Oo. Dito natin makikita mga kaibigan. Okay. Let's
Nakikita rin natin ang tumigil na match. Dito, rounder. Capital rounder, yeah? Gagi ka. Eto na, makakita na naman tayo ng susunod na magbasan.
Abot.
Okay, dito sa...
Billy Jack.
Sabi na ito, may
Sabi mo, huwag kang mag-itin, boy. Takot ka na ba?
Oy!
Huwag kang mag-itin, boy.
Huwag ka na mag-itin.
challenge you.
Okay, yung mic daw. Yung tayo sila kawakan yung mic. Oh. Yung mic. Oh.
Boy, relax. Okay? Kawawa naman. Baka mamaya kulang 20 pagpapagong mo.
Inyo! Bakyo!
Nahamon ba yan?
Are you afraid? Come on, man. Come on.
Say bakyo!
I like that.
Bakyo! I like that!
Pucha, mainit po, men. Dahil
Basagan na to, Bon. Basagan na to.
basagan talaga ito hinamon ni Bagsik, si Billy Jack.
Walang
Headgear.
Suntukan ng mga
Guys,
sikat. Bakit na?
ito, men. For real.
Gagi, GG itong dalawa to. Yes, to.
Ah,
Napasuko na rin din si Billy Jackson. Yes, dahil nagtagal na rin siya ng headgear. Oh, hinamon ni BOYBAGSIK. Tanggalin to yung headgear eh. Ano yung headgear? Parang yun yung headgear. Oo.
dito natin makikita, mga kaibigan, na talagang si BOYBAGSIK ay talagang gusto magpakilala.
Oo. Dito natin
Wala.
malalaman. Gusto niya rin pakilala TV. Pinumukha niya.
Pero sa totoo lang, pucha, I know na talagang ready sila para sa gabi na to.
Si BOYBAGSIK nga pala. Nakita natin yung mga bayaran niya ng mga street fight. Kaya nandito siya sa battle ng mga
Ayun,
sikat.
nagyakap.
Nagkakapa na ba? Oo. Kaya wala pa suntukan.
Let's go.
Sila.
Okay.
Pero
Pero
si BOYBAGSIK. Grabe yung tingin.
yung mukha niya talagang hindi nagbibiro, men. Seryoso.
Si Mamas pala si BOYBAGSIK, si Boy Ungas. Kuya daw si Boy Ungas eh. Kuya daw si Boy Ungas. Oo, kuya daw eh. Yan. Shoutout kay Boy
Jack,
Ungas.
Jack.
Nasuko
Jack sa dalawa.
Round 1!
Round one.
Ito na! Let's get ready to rumble! Woo!
Nice job. Para kay
Kita na ang height advantage.
hey, let's go. Loose lang dito si BOYBAGSIK, ha? Maganda. Si Billy Jack, napaka-loose din, mga kaibigan. Relax na relax.
Hindi pa nagkakailan.
Ayun na.
Ayan na. Ayan na.
Ice right hand.
Nakakalabagan na sa suntok. Ayan na.
Nice right hand.
Hindi na kumakatake kay BOYBAGSIK. Si Billy Jack. Si Billy Jack. Bumagsak si Billy Jack.
Ito naman. Dito si Billy Jack, mga kaibigan. Ito naman.
Grabe yun. Si Billy Jack. Jerry.
Alright, relax lang. Relax lang tayo.
Grabe.
Pucha, galit na galit talaga.
Bitaw, ang ganda ng counter sa bulsa pa nga. Saan na si Billy Jack?
Sa, left hook at left hook.
Yun lang. Ayaw pa ni Billy Jack.
Alright, eto, tignan natin. Bayan talaga to. Sabayan talaga to, mga kaibigan. Makikita talagang no mercy dito.
Paliksihan to, men. Bagsak agad sa round 1. Yun ang magandang laban talaga.
Ayun na.
Boy.
Nice dodge. Kay Billy Jack. Oh, yeah.
Pinapakita ni Boy Angas. Kaya ano ba pala pangalan? BOYBAGSIK lang. Ang kanyang
Okay, relax lang dito si Billy Jack. Alam ko, he's waiting for that counter attack, mga kaibigan. Ayan. Ayan na. That's what I'm talking about, guys.
Boom! Bang! Bang! Billy Jack! Billy
Alright.
Jack! Umaatake!
Nice. Ayan na. That is the counter attack that we've all waiting, mga kaibigan. I know Billy Jack is just waiting for that hook.
Yes!
Talagang magbibitaw siya ng counter dito.
Kahit yung bagsak, ang panty siya. Alam niyo makakabawi siya.
Yes. Dito.
May height advantage si Billy Jack eh.
Yes. May height and reach advantage talaga. Pero pagdating sa mukha, sa panga, feeling ko advantage dito talaga si BOYBAGSIK.
Oo. Kitang-kita naman natin kung
Ayan
sino
na.
kasi sa mukha dyan eh.
May kita ako sa mata ni Billy Jack na he's just waiting for that counter.
Yes.
Ayan na. Ayan, nice counter attack para kay Billy Jack.
Ay, nagkaman yung minat na. Entertaining mga kaibigan.
Ako, this not yet over. Para maagang mag-mangasan tayo kasi anything can happen.
Yes.
Anything can happen.
ako dito, Mr.
Ayun na.
Billy, oo, sumabit na si Boy Bagsik kay Billy Jack. Sumasabit si Boy Bagsik.
Tumichip sa dito.
Oh.
Alright.
Oh, Boy Bagsik.
And that is our first round, mga kaibigan.
End of our first round.
Nagyayakapan sila, hindi pa tapos ah.
Pinapakita nila, sobrang sport nila ngayon.
So ay, yun ang maganda sports talaga. Kahit na sabihin natin, sutukan lang to ng mga sikat na parang kanto, pero may sportsmanship.
Pinapakita pa rin nila magiging professional
Yes.
nila. Pinapakita pa rin nila.
Para,
Sa replay, piniplay nila dito sa
para sa inyo ba? Kanino yung first round na yun, Tito Bits? Para sa inyo.
Kung ako, record lang okay, tatanungin na. Pwedeng mapunta kay Boy Bagsik. Kasi grabe yung company, Billy Jack eh.
Tama,
Pero kasi,
malaki yung score.
parang magkasaplit na player, may bat si Billy Jack eh.
Yes.
Napahigo niya rin si Boy Bagsik. So para sa akin tayo.
At sobrang laki ng kumpiyansa ni Boy Bagsik dito kasi hindi talaga nagbibiro to. This guy is, I feel like this guy is ready to kill right now. Ganun
Yes.
talaga yung mentality niya.
Yes. Sana sa kanyang aggression.
Oo, aggressive and ang ina na parang ready siya sa gera. Ganun talaga.
Aggression. Actually, sa'yo mas Billy Jack naman. Kaya si Billy
Men,
Jack
tingnan dito, nakatayo na agad. Nakatayo na agad dito si Boy Bagsik, mga kaibigan.
Yes. At
Holy shit.
mataas-taas na ng kamay.
Alright.
Round 2. Tingnan natin
Second
kung
round.
makakawis Billy Jack Sanchez.
Okay, Billy Jack just measuring. Waiting for the counter. Anything can happen dito, mga kaibigan. Kaya huwag kayong bibigit. Ayan na.
Bang! Oh! Medyo nabibigla si Billy Jack pag sinusugod si Medyo mabilis si Boy. Oy! Nakaiwas si Boy Bagsik doon sa hook.
Ang ganda ng galawan na pinapakita ni Boy Bagsik dito.
Bang! Oh!
Nice shot. Nice
Boy
shot.
Bagsik out of balance.
Ayun na.
Oh my gosh. Boom! Oh!
Hail Mary,
Another
mga
solid
kaibigan.
punch by Billy Jack.
Eto, nagbibigay na tayo dito.
Grabe yun, eh. Sobrang nagkakain na sila dalawa.
Yes. Billy Jack dito, just measuring. Ito, very aggressive.
Oh!
Ako, nayanig dito. Nayanig
Jack.
dito si Billy Jack, mga kaibigan talaga.
Hey! Naramdaman niya.
Ako, hindi pwede yun. Kapag binibreak tayo, hindi pwede tumip shot. Kasi it's a break.
Mismo. Tama nga naman. Pero nararamdaman na rin kasi ni Boy Bagsik na tumatrap yung suntok na
Ayan,
kaibigan.
nagsasorry dito. Ayan,
Nanditang ba siya?
nadadak siya ng puntos dito, mga kaibigan. Kasi nga, that's against our rules.
So, although suntukan from mga sikat, medyo inadapt nila
Yes.
yung rules.
Okay. Ako, huwag kang sumugod. Billy.
Oh!
Nice hook. Nice hook by Billy.
Puto, nagayakapan sila. Halika na!
Yes, break. Check the swing.
Oh!
Very aggressive talaga dito si Boy Bagsik, mga kaibigan.
Akbayan, best friends forever. We're best friends.
Billy Jack.
Oh!
Naku po, medyo
Yes! Boy Bagsik!
medyo humihina ng suntok dito
Oh!
si Billy. Break. Shot. Okay, bawal yun. Alright, nakikita natin dito, meron ng heavy breathing si Billy Jack. At ito, Billy Jack, Boy Bagsik is standing his ground, mga kaibigan. Talagang ginagawa na dito si Billy Jack.
Boy Bagsik! Billy Jack!
Ako,
niya na si... Oy! Pero pagod din si Billy Jack.
pagod na dito. He's very tired. At makikita sa suntok na ni Billy Jack.
Oh!
Saka dito. Ako, nayanig dito si Billy Jack, mga kaibigan.
Ganda naman ni Billy Jack to. Nayayanig.
Nayanig siya dito.
Oh! Na-corner na si Billy Jack!
This is what I'm talking about, guys. Boy Bagsik is really prepared for this one.
Yes, what a last punch!
And I'm betting, mga kaibigan, na si Boy Bagsik, kaya niya kahit 12 rounds pa yan.
Mismo.
Kasi men, iba ang stamina ng mga Bisaya.
Oo.
Totoo lang, men.
Totoo. Actually, sa boxing talaga, stamina na
Stamina talaga kasi pucha, may makikita nyo yung heavy breathing dito ni Billy Jack and ramdam niya na yung mga suntok.
Parang binubuhat niya na lang, no?
Yes.
Wala na sa puto. At nasunod-sunod nga ni Boy Bagsik na suntok si Billy Jack.
Nayanig dito.
Parang babagsak siya dyan, oh.
Oh my God.
Si Billy Jack.
Oh, nayanig na yan. Nayanig na si Billy Jack dito, mga
Sa
kaibigan.
corner ni Boy Bagsik si Billy Jack, eh. Oo! Ayun, oh. Pero, ayun, oh.
Ayun, may chip shot pa siya dito.
Ayun pa yun.
Pero it's part of it. It's part of the game. Talagang minsan, meron nakaka-chip shot kahit
Malayo yung
tagal na.
referee.
Kerdi, yung mata mo.
Oo, ina-assist
And this is the sign of very sad moment para kay Billy Jack dahil nauubusan na siya dito ng stamina.
Yes.
And napaka-importante ng stamina dito. Conditioning is very important.
Mismo. Actually, kahit anong sport talagang stamina, man.
Yes.
Oo naman.
Agree.
Pwede na lang siguro sa dart. Sa chess. Ganun.
At,
Pero pauta ka naman yun. Nasa bilyar. Oo. Pero hindi ka
Right.
sa bilyar, bali mo bubagsak yung isa mo.
Billy Jack, humihinga si Billy Jack sa bibig niya. Talagang
Okay, nandito tayo sa
pagod
round
na
3.
siya.
Last round! Aabot ba sa decision o may babagsak?
Tignan natin.
This is the last round.
Boy Bagsik. Nag-iipon lang ng puwersa.
Oh!
Ayan na. 1-2
Go!
by Boy
Grabe si Boy
Bagsik.
Bagsik. Tuloy-tuloy si Boy Bagsik. Walang bakas ng
Kapaguran.
pagkapagod, oh.
Ayan, oh.
Grabe ang stamina ni Boy Bagsik dito.
Oh, nice!
Oh! Another solid punch by Boy Bagsik! Parang nasigo.
Punch.
Nasigo yata. Nasigo yata ni Billy Jack. Ay, di ba na? Parang nakabawi na lang si Billy Jack dito, no?
Alright.
Oh. Pero makikita mo sa kanila yung pagiging professional pa rin.
Yes. Ayan na!
Oy!
Solid po si Billy Jack, mga kaibigan.
Combination! Ang tumama! Solid punch by Boy
Nice
Bagsik! May bawi naman dito si Billy Jack.
Nice hook by Billy Jack. Ayan na.
Nice
Kapag
overhand.
tumama itong right hand ni Billy Jack, this game is gonna be over.
Yes!
Pero tignan natin kung talagang lalaki ito, ha? Dahil,
Nagpapasuntok si Billy
Jack
Jack.
ka na. Binaba.
Oy! Nakikita na natin. Right hook. Nakakatama na. Nakakakonect na si Billy Jack. Bumabalik ang momentum ni Billy Jack dito pero mabilis ka. Nagkakakumpiyansa.
Nagkakakumpiyansa din si Billy Jack.
Oh,
Nice by Billy.
yan ay gampangan ni Boy Bagsik pero wala. Sabi
Ayan.
ni Boy Bagsik
This
wala.
is the sign of slowdown kay Boy Bagsik, mga kaibigan. Naramdaman niya rin ang suntok ni Billy Jack.
Yes, nakilala niya rin eh, no? Narating din yung mundo niya bigla eh. Okay, basta na!
Parehas na hatang pagod ko.
Box!
Wala, nakaramdam na ng pagod si
Go!
Naramdaman!
And the winner is Boy Bagsik! Kaya na si Billy
So,
wala, kita natin yung
Guys.
mundo ni Billy Jack.
what a hook by Boy Bagsik!
At Bon, tama nga yung kumagay sinasabi mo kanina.
Yes.
Di ba?
Pucha! Yanig ang mundo dito ni Billy Jack.
This is the instant replay.
Tingnan ang instant replay, talagang yanig na yanig. Hindi
Medyo,
makatayo. Pero ng ano,
nagkikitbit ka. Medyo nahirapan bumalik sa paa ni Billy
Yes.
Jack sa suntok ni Boy Bagsik.
talaga nakina yung paa at yung tuhod ni Billy Jack dito, mga kaibigan.
Nag-uabol talaga eh, no?
Mga Bisaya lang talaga ang malakas, mga kaibigan, para sa akin.
Grabe
Mabuhay
yan.
tayo, mga Bisaya, lahat tayo normal. Lahat tayo, pantay.
Pagod yanig. Grabe. Sinasalag lang niya yung mga binibitawang sa Boy Umas. Panatawa na Boy Umas! Grabe naman yun! Hindi ko natin nakikita sumusuntok na maganda si Boy Uragon pero lamang sana siya sa height, sa reach. Hey! Ano na to? Pero nabubag sa ano?
It is now time for the main event, the main course of the evening. Suntukan ng mga sikat. Live via pay-per-view at www.bloggerstv.com. This match is a rivalry that has been brewing for weeks already. Let us not keep the fans waiting. Introducing first on the blue corner, standing 5'10", weighing in 166 pounds, the pride of Camarines Sur Bicol, the cocky and confident fighter from Team Luzon, Boy Uragon!
Distansya ka konti ha, baka mandali ka dyan. Yo bro, baka may... Asan yung mga kalaban ko? Uyungas! Tatapusin kita ngayon, kakatanong na ka!
Grabe, naramdam ko energy niya. Ito na.
Gigil na gigil natin, gigil na gigil.
Asan to yung kalaban niya dahil siya i-announce na natin yung kalaban niya. Tawagin na natin.
Okay, okay. Tawagin na natin, tawagin na natin. Go na, go na, go na.
Punta mo tayo sa ring. Para matawag na yung kalaban na hinahanap mo.
Parang mananapok to ate ah.
Oo.
Mga katabi niya lang, tampukin.
Grabe yung ano niya. Asan yung kalaban? Oh! Grabe. Asan yung kalaban? Oh!
Asan ang kalaban ko?
His opponent on the red corner, standing 5'3", weighing in 110 pounds. The small but terrible, the undefeated, the destroyer, Boy Uras!
Dancer pala yan, dancer. Dancer pala to, bago naging boksingero. Okay, interview natin si Boy Ungas. Galing pa ng Excuse me, Char.
Mayong gabi sa inyong tanan. Visaya! So, yun mga kaulas. Maraming salamat. Dahil nandito na ako. Kaya bakbakan na to. Grabe. Ito talaga, hindi ko in-expect to na nandito na ako. Sobrang saya ako.
Kita mo talaga ras.
Grabe.
Buti na nagagalit jowa mo.
Saya ko
Buti na nagagalit jowa mo.
nandito na ako.
Yes, thank you so much.
Bakit mo?
Good luck. Ayaw mo yan.
Bakit ito ka pala niya?
Kaya, bigyan ko lang mawala ako na tutukan.
Let's go, let's go.
Yan, ito mo tinilaban to. Pagkilin natin to.
Ito lang ito, yung tapo ko nila sa.
Ito na yun.
Okay, okay, mic na, mic.
Yan.
Maganda laban ko. Pero bago yun, maganda rin ang mga natin. Number, sabi ng uwi ko. John Jerry.
Oo, sama sa mga rounders natin.
Tama ko ba, no?
Ulit natin.
Tama ko ba yan? Ito natin. Mahal ko nung ulo ko yung ito ni Ito.
Itong mga rounders natin, nakakakita ng ano, ng mga relasyon. Ng gusto girls eh. Napakaganda babae, napakasama.
Paala kayo. Medyo notice, Jerry Pereira. Paala tayo.
SG.
Dahil mo ba alam, yung nanay ko, wala na.
Ako din, pikulan ng kabisig namin.
Kaya ito, magandang laban to. Magandang laban to.
Pikulan na siya.
Bicolano versus Visaya.
Bisaya. Pero syempre respect sa Bisaya.
All respect.
Ito rin siya ang pinili niya ay wala
Year.
at wala rin bayan here. Bayan daw
Bayan here.
Oh, wala
Bayan
bayan here. Okay.
Wala. Yun
Siya
nga
daw,
eh.
dahil siya daw meron.
Pinili ni Bayo Ragon na maglagay ng bayan here. Mike. Pasuyo.
Dahil niyo siya, no?
My name is Ariel, and I just started my first job as a project manager. When I was a student, I'd write long essays that I'd work on for days, but
Gusto ko walang lagayan ng dito, itlog. I love you.
I love you.
Siyempre, panindigan mo, walang lagay-lagay dito. Siyempre, street fighter lang ako. Kaya, tagalin mo na yan. Nakakaiya. Hindi yan. Wala yan. Hindi.
Ayaw ni Boy Umas ng merong ano. Ayaw niya yung joint guard ba? Bayag year. Oo, bayag year. I love you nga doon. Love you. So ito, pag nanalo pa dito ang Team Visayas,
Naghahamon na simulan.
Ano yung mga gusto natin, aggressive, no?
Oo,
Aggressive talaga.
mga Bicolano.
Oo.
talaga niya.
Pero ang Visayas,
Marami naman yung biyagos.
Sports lang daw muna. Pero si Bicolano parang galit.
Wala.
Sportsmanship, yes.
Baka tinasumpukin eh.
Oo. Siyempre kanya-kanya ng emosyon yan mga best ko. Na.
Eto na, tumalog na.
So yun, wala na sa tabi namin si Mon. Dalawa na lang ulit kami ni Russell ngayon na co-commentator. Dito natin malalaman kung mag-ahari ba talaga ang mga Visaya. At syempre, shoutout sa mga Visaya dyan. No? Big respect sa inyo. Malalakas kayo, men. Solid kayong tao. Marami akong kaibigang Visaya. At dito ako sa kanilang Damis Cartels.
Ang mga ko, Bisaya.
Shoutout sa inyo mga taga Visaya.
Ang pinaw dito, guys. Pero kung piyaw sa gusto ko yan. Nagagaling nila dito ngayon eh.
Pero syempre, shoutout din sa Team Bicol. Yan, yung mga, si Papa Ross tsaka si Ate Ann, yung mga kasama namin sa bahay. Yan, shoutout sa inyo. Si Uragon, hindi nagbabago yung tsura eh.
Oo, parang pinitig lang. Diba, yung drawing lang yan?
Putang ina, hindi ko alam.
Hindi ko pa nakakakwentuhan yan. Isip ko yung mas, ako nakakakwentuhan ko. Okay naman, nakakikit eh.
Actually, sa Boy Uragon kayo na pag-akyat ko, aakiran ko. Napalayo ako, sabi ko, kalma lang ano.
Parang lang si galit, no?
Gago!
Kasi mo yung mas, minsan nalulungkot din siya, natawa.
Kanina nga
Tao siya, pare, tao siya.
Oo, kanina nga nag-I love you eh.
Ito parang Terminator. Si Boy Uragon parang Terminator.
Nagyapan, yung up. This is the main event of Suntukan ng mga sikat. Siyempre, together with Russell pa din. Ang solid na si Russell.
Eto na. Dang! Let's get ready to rumble! Woohoo!
Eto na! Dito na magkakalaman.
Dito na makikita kung talagang ang Manila City, ang mananalo.
Dapat ang City, Oh, aha.
Kitang-kita natin ang height. Advantage. Ni Boy Uragon.
Pero tinamaan nga ni Boy Bukas. Boy Uragon sa mukha. Hey, another one. Grabe to, Russell. Nakakailangan mo ng laban na to.
Medyo napapatahimik tayo dahil ang ganda ng pacing na, oo. Minsan ka na makakita ng gandong laban talaga.
Yung kanina kasi,
Suntukan.
medyo sumuko agad si Harry.
Wala, hindi ako natuwa. Natuwa ka ba doon, Tito Vince?
Sakto lang. Grabe yung height advantage dito ni Boy Uragon.
Oo.
Pero inaabot siya.
Pero na, siya, tinatanong siya ni Boy Umas.
Tinatalon siya ni Boy Umas.
Wala pa tayo nakakita maganda patama mula kay Boy Uragon dito.
Yes. Uy! Another point of Boy Umas!
Yanig ang mga ni Boy Uragon. Yanig.
Grabe. Sinasalag lang niya yung mga binibitawang sa Boy Umas. Another point of Boy Umas! Grabe naman yun!
Sana siya sa
Ay! Sa reach! Hey! Another combination by Boy Umas! Another combination! Grabe yan!
Ramdam ni Boy Uragon. Binibinaw na si Boy Uragon. Hindi na makakatayo.
Hindi na makatayo si Boy Uragon! Hindi na makatayo si Boy Uragon!
Alam ka na ang ibubuga sa Manila City. Yes!
Grabe! Team Visayas mag-ingay!
Manila City,
Di isa walang ay panalo ang Manila City,
Sa mag-euro mag-isa si Boy Ungas, si Boy Uragon. Parang sa takot tumatok si Boy Uragon, no? So, kita naman natin sa rin. Kita natin sa video, no? Si Boy Uragon. Hindi nakasuntong kay Boy Ungas. Oo. Ito, hindi na siya nag-step na, ano, tumayo ng diretsyo. Sunod-sunod yung tama sa mukha na galing kay Boy Ungas. Grabe. Grabe ang saya ng Team Visayas ngayon, men. Sobrang laki niya, pero wala siya na ibang. Yan ang sinasabi ko, huwag mamalitin ng mga taga-Visayas. Yan na. Paano mo kayo sa mukha niyo? Grabe, congratulations kay Boy Ungas ng Team Visayas. 3 straight wins! Pero ngayon, kita natin, para mabait naman pala siya. Bumait bigla, bumait.
Round number 1. Ends at 1 minute and 35 seconds.
Hindi na tumagal.
From Kinuban, Negros Occidental, the destroyer, Boy Uwas!
Three, start! Nagbabalik naman ang hindi pa nakaalis sa harap nyo. Siyempre, ako si Boy Ungas. Siyempre, mga kaungas, ay may taga-Bacolod na pumunta dito para munin ako sa boxing. Siyempre, sport lang. Kaya ito, ano pala mo?
Ronald Apolinario, Max Punch TV from Candoni and now living in Bacolod City.
Lo, grabe no, mga maskugli mo istorya ni nga gwapo. Siyempre, guys, minamon niya ako sa boxing na 5 sila. Galing pa sila sa Bacolod pero pumunta dito para mag-boxing kami. Siyempre, pagdikyan natin yan. Sport lang talaga. I love you, mama. Chup-chup, mama. Marco na nga.
We are making ready for the fight, ladies and gentlemen. Lagyan natin to ng hand drops para iwas injury tayo kasi lalaban pa ito sa Battle of the YouTuber. So we're praying for him and we're wishing for his success, for his dreams, and for his family. God bless you, idol. Pumunta kami dito to pay respect and to show our support to Boy Ungas, our idol. Yeah.
Bawal talikod, bawal siko, bawal backface, bawal tingkogo. Upper tanan. Okay, touch gloves. Box! Fans TV versus Boy Ungas.
Ano na yan si Boy Ungas kasi
Boy Ungas
Boy.
versus Fans TV.
Punch TV.
Na, lakas ang Fans ni Boy Ungas at saka ni Fans
Ayun.
TV.
Shot. Ang klase. Labanan ng dalawang matigas na dalawang.
Tumaban ang mga malalakas na nilalang. Bacolod versus Sinuban.
Yun, magandang palitan ng suntok mga kaibigan at mga kapatid. Between Boy Ungas and Boy TV.
Yan mga katiltig, friendly game lang yan. Yan, ang laki-laki plan ni Fans TV mga katiltig. Malakas ang fans niya. Ayan, si Idol Boy Ungas. Yun. Lumayo ka sa planeta ni Idol Boy Ungas. Yun. Stop.
Anak?
1 minute left.
Hindi pagod ang nararamdaman. Tuloy ang laban. Cobra Energy Drink.
Yan, isipin mo lang yan, sinuwi tapang yung kalaban mo, mga titig. $30 left. Last 30 seconds. Let's go. Last 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up.
Ako na yung Chelsea mo, ginabira ba na huwag ka?
Napakalawang yan, guys.
Round 2 mga kaibigan at mga kapatid.
Box!
Chill lang mga kapatid.
20 seconds. Relax. Find ways. Ring. Buyungas mga kaibigan.
Stop.
Box!
Last 1 minute.
Last 1 minute.
Stop.
Tasgab.
Box!
Pakmanin mo yaman.
Stop. Last 10 seconds. Last 10 seconds.
Sige, purma lang.
10 seconds.
Okay. Time's up.
Winner!
Yun.
I am lucky to survive.
Wow.
You survive. So, ano masabi mo?
So what's up mga kawas, ang bait-bait talaga ni Max Fans TV na binigyan niya ako ng handtip. So Sa mga kaungas, so gabi mga kaungas, ang aga-aga ng good morning. So gabi, dinayo ako dito sa bahay ko. Bukas daw, mag-sit daw kami ng boxing. Ito yung makalaban ko. Taga saan kayo, bay?
Waling-waling.
Taga Waling-Waling sila. Pinuntahan ako sa bahay nakin. Mag-sit daw kami ng boxing bukas. So syempre, pag pinuntahan tayo mag-boxing, lalaban tayo dyan.
Sport lang.
Pinuntahan ako dito sa planeta ko, sa bahay ko. So, i-try lang natin yung the best natin. So, mga kaungas, abangan nyo bukas yung boxing namin. Yeah, I love you sa inyo na pinuntahan nyo ako dito. I love you. So, what's up mga kaungas? May kalaban ako at yung referee, si Kunz ng Bayan. Yung taga Dumaguete na malakas. Ito yung Kunz ng Bayan, yung referee natin. So, i-try lang natin yung the best natin. Kahit malaki siya, try lang natin. Yun lang. Love you.
Okay, friendly game mga ito, Bawal sa dito, bawal dito, bawal yung dito. Okay? Dito,
Friendly game lang.
Friendly game lang. Okay? Hug lang muna kayo. Okay?
Hindi lang ako matapos sa konti.
Ay, time.
Time!
Mantay na mga kayo, magdagandagan na rin sila.
3 minutes.
Ito lang video ba eh. Hindi na pagano.
Well lang, ginano ko lang kayo. Yung time mo.
Ang knockout pag pag naka-down yung kuwan, pero naka-down yung nitro, naka-up lang yung kuwan, walang knockout na. Okay? Pero naka-down yung kuwan, arms mo sa kuwan, sa lupa, yun ang knockout. Okay? Okay? Iba start. Time? Okay? Okay, ready? Go!
So what's up? I'm here. I'm body in other hometown in Dumaguete. I want to challenge over here. Then I want to challenge is Kunz ng Bayan to eating this food because Bags! Sana makaugat! I-follow nyo yung Facebook page na kapatid ko, si BOYBAGSIK! Sana masuportahan nyo sa I love you sa inyo! Ang bait-bait ng kapatid ko! Sana masuportahan nyo! So guys, sana bisitahin nyo yung YouTube channel ko, BOYBAGSIK! Bagsik ko! Bagsik na Pinas! Bagsik nyo! Ano ba? Diyan!
Who didn't think of doing this? He's like, where are we going to build this thing? I never start with a plan. Well, I do. I kind of gave him a plan. It's going to look like one of those old-fashioned TVs with the crooked legs. And it's going to go right here. See where Don is? A forest cube, if you will. It's going to be a box suspended in midair in the forest. Very majestic, futuristic, neat. Did I say neat? It's going to be a neat little structure. I've always kind of wanted to build one of these, and it's going to solve a couple of problems that we have. And primarily is when you have guests over, especially ones that snore. When they're in the small cabin, they tend to keep everybody awake. So the idea is to build another little structure, very small, the right size. We're going to build it the right size, and it's going to be a little retreat, a meditation cube, if you will, a nice right-sized box in the forest. So we gotta move some stuff. There's no trees we have to remove. It's all just kind of dead. No problem. Only solutions. Now comes the fun part of doing layout. We've got a nice clean area mapped out for this thing. This is the rough dimensions of this forest cube. This thing is going to be about 8 feet. It's going to be an 8-foot cube. This cube is going to have splayed out legs. And in order to do that, you got to use a lot of math. Or we make our cube 8 feet right now. And we use this as a template guide of where we dig our posts. Let's do that right now. You grab the back. Okay. So go right there. So we're going to square it up with our kitty corner measurements in order to make sure it's square, because you want a square cube. I can already see how spacious this cube's going to be. We got to dig holes. I love digging holes. That's why Don's here, because we're digging holes. Now that we have our post holes dug, we can find our legs, our posts. We're gonna find some cedar posts in order to make legs out of them. I've got just the ticket. Forest where trees have been growing for hundreds of years. There's nothing that can get to the forest floor. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna harvest a couple of those to do some selective thinning, they call it. When I first bought this property, I had the forest management technician out to look at it, and he advised that I cut out 3 of the 4 trees that are standing here. So there's of the cedars, if there's a thicket of 4 trees, he wants to cut 3 out of the 4 trees. Now I'm a little reluctant to do that. I'm just going to cut as I need trees, but I understand the practice. It's to increase light to the forest floor, basically encourage new growth. It's very dark in here. There's nothing anything can eat down below. As predicted, it's hung up in the trees. Because they're too close together. Well, that was a successful trip to the lumber store. We've got ourselves 4 posts or legs. Look at those legs. Hopefully they didn't skip leg day. Don, you want to drag these over there?
You betcha. Get at it.
I got them.
I'm going to turn this way.
Yep. Those are fancy legs. So there is an ancient technique of charring the posts before putting them in the ground. I don't know if that's a regional thing, but around here where they build pole barns and such, they use cedar posts. And I've been advised that the best way to preserve them is to peel the bark. That's it. Peel the bark, set them in the hole. There's barns around here in my area that are 100+ years old that are basically cedar posts that barks have been peeled and it's been set in the ground. Nothing else. Cedar is naturally a preservative wood. It's like a pressure treated wood. It likes it in the ground. So we're just going to peel the bark off the post, set them in the hole. And 100 years from now, we're going to check to see if this thing's still standing. Let's check these in 20 years.
20 years.
All right. YouTube, remind me, 20 years. Check these posts. Cedar rope. Delicious. That's actually pretty good. So satisfying. There are lots of right ways to do this. One of them would be like a draw knife, which is they got the handles on the sides and you pull it down the log and you pull all the bark off. I don't have one of those. I'm going to use a dull chisel. How's your dull chisel working? Great. Look at that, using what we have. Look at this stuff. Look at that. We can tie it all together. You know what? What was that guy? The wooded beardsman guy? He ate this stuff, eh? The Cambian layer of the tree. I don't think it's the right season to eat tree. So satisfying. It's the latest fashion for fall. Cedar bark scarf. Cedar bark scarf. Is it good? I wonder. There's a clean spot. It's not terrible. Down and around. Oh, look at that. Perfect. I can't even hold on to the thing. I know. We should try climbing them. Get ready? Nah. Lift this up and then slide your post over. And then we're gonna lift. We're gonna carry it back this way. Move your post. Okay. Talk about progress for one day. That's being optimistic. We notched the top posts in order for them to sit in the little saddle. So they've got at least 1.5 inches sitting over here, and that'll support the weight. But they're, if you look at the posts themselves, they're splayed out on some sort of an angle leaning in. So they're not straight. They're not supposed to be straight. They're supposed to lean in at all 4 corners. See? Picture an old-fashioned TV set. Otherwise, you would need diagonal bracing in order for us to not pancake. Hopefully, we build this thing and we don't pancake. But look at the view. Look at the view. Isn't that, this thing's going to be awesome. I'm excited for this. I like it. And if you can see back here is the pond. That's going to be a great view. It's hard to illustrate how splayed out they are. So that's acting like a tripod, but it's 4. Is that a 4-pod? It's acting like a 4-pod. A 4-pod in the forest. Acceptable level for cube in the forest. Flush mouth box bead with a bolt all the posts to the ringer. This is a ringer. It's not really a ringer. It's a ringer, but it's going to be a box beam. So we're going to bolt that guy together, and that's going to give us some sort of lateral support so we don't pancake on this bad boy. Sometimes you just need more power, or in this case, electrical power. So I went and grabbed the generator. I've got myself my Makita. This is my mixer. Usually I mix drywall mud with that bad boy. So that guy is like 1/3 of a horsepower or something like that. It's gonna make short work of these holes. We're gonna run that guy to power the drill to make all my holes, because battery power just ain't cutting it. I like how the only spot in this whole bush that it's bright is right here. It's like being on the surface of the sun. You got like, it's like, whoa, look at this. It's going to be a nice view once we got the cabin built. You're going to be standing up there. You're going to be sitting in the bunkie, and it's going to be very picturesque overlooking the pond. So Kevin, why are you using such big bolts for? Well, I went to the hardware store to get the right size one, meaning the right length ones. And apparently stuff's gone up in price. They wanted nearly $6 a piece for them. And if you're doing math, that's a lot of money. So I had these laying around. These are bolts that a piece of industrial equipment came in on. Like the 6x6 were bolted together with some 2x something or others. Anyways, and I saved them all. And I was like, I'm never going to use a bolt this size. And it's true. I'm probably never going to use a bolt this size unless I was building this thing. But so this hardware is really expensive. Once you start, getting a lot of them. $6 is not bad when you got to buy 8 of them. I mean, I got 8. So anyways, that's why I'm using large bolts like this. And I find the best way to get them in the hole is to swing with reckless abandon. One more. 8 oversized bolts in place. All I gotta do is put the nuts and the washers on. Now that we've got all the fiddly stuff done, meaning the setting the posts and the beams and the legs and carriage bolts and anchor bolts and all those other things, we're going to do our blocking. And what the blocking is basically boards that go every 16 inches from 2x8 to a 2x8, and that's going to give us a little bit of rigidity. It's going to basically consolidate our 2x8 box beam. Building the proper foundation for this cube, because falling 8 feet out of the air is not going to be fun. Yeah, we got the generator fired up, we got the compressor fired up, we're gonna get our nail gun fired up, because putting these guys in by hand is going to take a long time. So we got some power. We got some proper framing with proper tools. Let's bang these guys up. So we're deciding how big the opening to this cube, because there's going to be a floor hatch here. So you're going to come up a ladder, you're going to open a hatch, and the hatch originally was thinking about 4 feet in order to get panel goods up. And I was thinking to myself, well, we got a giant window at the front, so we'll bring our panel goods through the front, like the drywall, if we got flooring, or if we need sheet goods or whatever, like a table. The furniture itself in this cube, because it's such a tight space, it's about 64 square feet. That's the outside dimensions. The inside is going to be probably 60 square feet. Everything's going to be custom built. We're going to have wall-hung Murphy beds, basically fold down on hinges, so you can just stow those away when you're not using them. Little desk will build probably out of some live edge wood. A chair will comfortably fit through this hole. I'll comfortably fit through that hole. And if you can't fit through that hole, you ain't going in. Give me a bunch of them, and then I'll nail it in. It's going to be a door jamb that's going to prevent the hatch from falling down. That's going to be squared up a little bit more than this one that's not so square. This is rough framing. It doesn't have to be, well, it should be perfect, but it doesn't have to be perfect, because the trim carpenter comes in and trims this thing out squarer than it already is. So these are joist hangers. They're like garters for joists. They hold up the joist. They're structural. Use nails. They're 18-penny nails. They go in every single hole. Don't use screws. Screws do not have structural shear strength. You got to use nails in every little hole. That stuff's OSB. You guys don't like me when I use OSB. Oriented strand board. You can use plywood, or you can use this stuff. It's much cheaper. And for the amount of time it's actually going to be in the rain, it's perfectly good stuff. We're starting the OSB plywood argument. This OSB in Canada anyways, it's coated with like a wax coating, and it's designed to keep the water off of it while you're building. Would you spend more money in your house to buy? Would you do it with plywood? I'd probably go with plywood in my house for a situation like this, where it's 2 sheets, literally 2 sheets of OSB. You know what? I would go with this. When you frame, you've got a couple of options. The easiest option is to put everything together on the ground, put your insulation in, even if you can, put your plywood on, and then once you're done that, you just stand it up. You make sure everything is square, obviously, and then when you stand it up, you basically plumb the walls, and you're good for your finished material. Right? Not coming at you, is it? I realized that either I'm not young enough, or I'm not strong enough, or I don't know, maybe it's because it's up in the air. It's hard to build a wall on a little tiny platform and stand it up by yourself. So I'm not going to do that anymore. I've learned my lesson on this wall that we just did. It's questioning questioning all sorts of things when I was doing that. It's up, it's secured, it's not going to go anywhere. But what I'm going to do on this back wall here, looks like a giant picture window. I'm going to stick frame it. And what stick framing means is that I'm going to basically put individual stuff up, level it off, and nail it off, and then I'm going to sheet the outside afterwards. And that you can do by yourself. It just takes a little bit more time, a little more effort, but can be done. You can do it alone. It's easier with your buddy. You can hold it just a smidge. Yeah, I got it. We are coming right along on this build. As you can see, I've put some, I see the framed door. This is the door, and this is the window. So the door is very narrow. I have a special, it's actually going to be a reclaimed garage door with windows in it. So I'm going to cut it down, and that's going to be my door to the outside. And then there's going to be another, this is going to be a functional window. It's going to open. And then where you can see is there's a giant window going here. So yeah, just move right along. I might have prematurely put pants on. It's not warm, but heck, it's humid. It's feels very tropical around here. So I'm gonna go put my shorts back on. I'm gonna get back to sheeting. My unorthodox use of a chainsaw, I think, spawned from an early age. I think about probably 6, 7, 8 years old. I was growing up, and I remember the house next door was being built, and the framer, I remember his name was Cliff. And Cliff used a chainsaw every opportunity he had. He was doing fascia, chainsaw. He was framing rafters, chainsaw. He was cutting out windows, chainsaw. Every single time he had the opportunity to use a chainsaw, he used it. And I thought, that's got to be the most efficient way to cut something. It does a pretty good job, as long as your chain's sharp. See, we got our doors. Got our doors, got our front window. We're just gonna, there's no ceiling yet. So we just fired up the compressor, fired up the generator. Now we're going to frame out the ceiling. The roof's going to be flat. Now I can hear them already. Why are you doing a flat roof? Well, I got some special product that I'm going to try. We don't have a ladder. How do I get out of here?
Swing in the window.
I'm not swinging it. Should always wear a mask when you do insulation. Or any construction, really, because you should use safety glasses too. Because we're going for the 4-season warm cube, today is the, I guess, buttoning up the underside. We ended up picking up a bag of insulation, some Roxel. I like Roxel. Some Roxel insulation. We're going to insulate the underside of the cube in order to keep us nice and toasty. We went with the R14 vat, and we're going to leave it lower to the side. And we're going to leave airspace underneath the subfloor, and that should provide us with adequate amount of insulation type of situation. So you can see underside. We could fill it with, like, you know, R22. I think it's this R22, which is the 6-inch stuff. But instead, we're going to use the R14, which is a anything. Did you know about insulation? There's a depreciating rate of return, and anything above R12, the graph starts to go down. You should look it up. It's interesting. I've done a lot of R value looking. But again, insulation is a funny thing. You know, you should always go with as much insulation as you can afford. I feel like I want to talk a little bit more about insulation. Insulation is only good as your weakest link, meaning if you insulate with an R14 bat, but you leave little gaps around stud spaces and it's not evenly fit, your insulation value drops significantly. And so it's really important to make sure it's a tight fit, tight but snug fit, not compressed. You want it loosely in there in order to keep the cold and the hot out. Air sealing is also important, and that's what we're going to do. The Kerdi, that Schluter Kerdi system is going to air seal this guy pretty much airtight. For the exterior door on this guy, so I got a hole up there I got to fill. So that's going to be the door to the ultimate wraparound deck at some point. So to make it kind of like a little boutique hotel, I am going to employ a old garage door panel. So I've just got to cut it down to size in order to do so, because it is aluminum. It doesn't like to be cut. It's not about the saw, it's about the blade. So if you take the blade on a traditional circular saw and you turn the blade backwards, that gives you the ability to cut anything. Well, maybe not anything, but it does cut aluminum quite well when you turn the blade backward. Wear eye protection and ear protection, because it's loud. Take a look at that. That's a fine door. I wouldn't even want to know how much a door like this would cost if you had to buy it. That's amazing. So you got thermal panes, those will clean up nice. And that's going to be on the back. Add some light. Keep some heat in, some cold out. I like it. Just gotta hang the door now. Feel that airflow. Oh. This is a door to the porch, and this hatch area here is going to be the regular access to the cube. I'm just about to install my window, but first I want to waterproof the opening because it's flush. There's no overhang. There's nothing to keep the water out. What I've done is actually used a product called Blueskin. I happen to have a roll of it kicking around on the back 40. It's been seen better days. It's actually soaking wet. But what this stuff is it's almost like a self-healing membrane. If you poke holes in it, it kind of self-heals itself. You try to cut it and it glues itself back together. So it's going to waterproof the opening. I've got it all the way around the opening, and then I got my piece of glass. This piece of glass was a thermal pane. It had two pieces of glass with the inert gas inside, argon or whatever. It was fogged. What I did was I actually took my knife and I split the glass. So I've got a single pane of glass. It's extra thick. I think it'll do its job. This stuff's great. Blueskin. It's pricey, but it does the job. You can see there where the window is. You don't have any sharp edges or metal digging into the glass. Hopefully that'll prevent it from exploding. Got the flashing. I'm gonna caulk it from the outside and then parge up the rest of it. That's a big window. It's a 4-foot window. The good thing is I have a spare. I have a spare if that thing breaks. Now that we've got all the plywood up, I'm going to waterproof it using something a little unorthodox. I'm using Kerdi Membrane. This is a Schluter product designed to waterproof showers. I've got a little bit of it left over, a lot of it left over. This is a membrane, and it's basically like wallpaper, really thick wallpaper, and you apply it with thin set with a notch trowel, and you basically embed it into the plywood, and it provides a waterproof membrane on the outside of this thing. Now, so this cube ultimately is going to be parged with concrete. So it's going to look like a big concrete block. Like if I do a custom shower in somebody's home, I'm using this Kerdi stuff. This is great stuff. I've never had a callback. I've never had a leaky shower. You use it on the floors, the walls. You're going kerbless showers. If you're going, a tub with a tile surround, this is a great, for tile backer and stuff like that. This is the stuff to use. This is the Kerdi membrane. And yeah, we're going to install it on our forced cube and see how it works. I don't want to leak a cube. It should be overlapped, I believe, 3 inches overlap. So what we're doing is we're cutting this a little bit long. Our cube is 8 feet by 8 feet. So what we're doing is cutting it 8'6", and we're going to put it on the roof, and then it's going to overlap the roof a little bit. So we're basically making a shingle or a flashing. The manufacturer's recommendation is 2-inch overlap on seams. We're going to go 4 because it's on my roof. and they don't really spec force cubes on the instruction guide. I guess in this situation, we're just gonna think outside the box a little. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trowel it out with the flat side of the trowel. That's the flat side. And it's important to have all your notches go the same way, meaning you're not going like this and changing directions. And the reason being is because when you lay your material in, you want to be able to crush that little notch. So everything crushes the same way. But if you got one going this way and that way, it doesn't crush evenly, especially when you're laying tile. I'm going to roll this membrane out. And then we use our grout float. In the directions they say use a drywall trowel. I guess I could have used a drywall trowel. But you're basically pushing the Kerdi membrane into the mud. All the way around, basically working the air bubbles out. Rinse and repeat. Do that for the entire building. Well, they don't recommend. Well, I don't know, not that they don't recommend using it on buildings. I just don't think they've. I don't think they've thought of that. I've got little corner blocks for it, and then once we fold that over and stick it to the wall, there's no way water can get in there. Very waterproof system. I love this system, especially for showers. Maybe not forest cubes, but definitely this stuff is the go-to for showers. If you're going to do showers, this is the stuff to use. At this stage of the game, you might be thinking, if you're doing a project yourself, you're like at the grind and you're like, oh, why did I start this thing? It's been a haul. Like it's taken a long time. We're going to get through it. This is the stage where you're kind of like, we're going to do some parging. We're going to parge this guy here. We're going to parge it with parging mix. I don't know if anybody's ever done that to Kerdi membrane before. We're going to give it a whirl. I got some pre-mixed parging mix. I'm going to add a little bit of binder to it, and we're going to parge it on the wall. But first, safety eventually. One guy. Maybe one guy. Was it two guys? I don't know. Mask. Even though if I stand downwind, you always want, your mask to protect you from fine concrete particles. This is a P100 mask. This will pretty much catch any of those little fine particulates that may want to inhale. Should probably wear safety glasses, gloves, safety shoes. There's lots of things I should do. You should do them too. Don't do what I do. The good part about that is I only have to do that 4 times. And every time I'm on a scaffold, I think to myself, these are kind of like monkey bars. It's fitting I have a banana today. Build my monkey bars in the forest and butter my cube. So I've developed an interesting technique, and I'm not sure if this is the, did I reinvent the wheel? So I'm using the whole hawk as the trowel, and it's working really well. I just want to show you. This is kind of cool. Because this stuff is really goopy, I've basically used it on the hawk, and then if I place the hawk on the ceiling and kind of use it as a trowel, it all stays on. And then I reposition the blob and then repeat. You don't lose any. That's impressive. I see a lot of part ceilings and garages, and I'm always curious how they did it. I imagine they did it like this. Big hawk trowel, smooth it out. This stuff's not overly sticky. It's parging, right? It doesn't really want to be upside down. A couple more details. Let that dry for a bit. The underside is done. Maybe, what do you think? Eh? Hi, buddy. Oh, buddy. Yeah. You let it set up a little bit, and then you knock it down with either a piece of I use a piece of styrofoam. They say you can use a paintbrush, a wetted paintbrush to knock it down. I prefer the swirl method with a piece of styrofoam. So you got to let it set up because it is very whooshy. Well, hello. So this is the entrance to the cube. It's going to be from below. So this is going to be on hinges at some point. But yeah, this is the ultimate access. The back door on the cube is designed to get on the side ports that's not quite built yet. Well, guys, we're obviously not finished on this one. So you got to stay tuned for the next time when we finish the inside. I think I'm going to do some really interesting stuff in here, kind of like a boutique hotel sort of vibe. It's got drywall tray ceiling that's going to glow. It's going to be a little mini stove. It's on its way. A little bed, a little sitting area, a little prep area. Going to be really, really fancy for in the bush. It's going to have all the amenities of home.
Hi, who are you?
I'm Kevin.
I will stay up here.
You're going to live in the treehouse now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're going to start finishing the bunkie or the forest cube or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Meditation cube, forest cube, off-grid cabin bunkie. This is our guest house. We're going to do some fancy stuff. We even got a little, was it a cubic mini stove we're going to be installing to heat the whole thing up. Let's get started. We should do some installation. I love doing insulation. Welcome into the cube. As you can see, our interior, exterior framing is all done. We've got some of our electrical done. The electrical fairies came in and did that. So we're all ready for insulation and drywall. Now, a lot of people are going to say, why are you drywalling in the forest? And I say, because I want to. Why can't you have the modern amenities in the forest as you would anywhere else? Whoa. Insulation. It's my favorite part. When doing your insulation, you always want to make sure it's a fairly snug fit. Your insulation is only as good as your loosest piece because it's all about averages. If average of the wall has R14 in it and there's little spaces and holes and stuff like that, your R value drops. With Roxol, the best tool to use is a bread knife, and that usually cuts it pretty good. With the pink insulation, the fiberglass stuff, usually you compress it a little bit and use an X-Acto knife. You just score it along the edge. But with this particular insulation, this Roxol or rock wool insulation, I think they call it now, bread knife, easiest way to go. I like to use Roxol because it's fireproof and it's water resistant, and it usually stays where you put it. It's not and it's sound deadening. It's very it's quiet stuff. That's why I like it. I like the quiet. It's vapor barrier time. Done. Just like that. Well, we gotta do the inside. The end capped walls. So Mark, what you doing there, bud?
I'm just trimming the vapor barrier a bit here. Get a good seal with the tuck tape.
Why? Why is it important to get a good seal, Mark?
The time and energy invested in sealing up now pays for itself in the long run. A little bit of tape goes a long way. I once worked with a guy who said the amount of money you spend on insulation now pays for itself in the long term tenfold.
So I should probably introduce Mark. Mark is a good friend. He's been around a long time. He's my HVAC technician, and he has a day off, and he decided to come out to the bush to give me a hand. So what we're doing is we're sealing this cube up the best we can. Even if you're building a new home and you're not building it yourself, maybe you have a contractor in there. If you can sneak in there on the weekend and tape up like just attention to detail. It's buttoning up the envelope, seal all the little nooks and cracks when you can see light or if there's like holes in the vapor barrier or whatever. If you can get in there and seal it all up, it's worth it. It's worth the time and effort in order to take it. So say hello, Mark.
Hello.
That's the official introduction to YouTube.
Very good. Hello, YouTube.
Yeah. So Mark's actually, he didn't really have to help me with the vapor barrier. I could have done it myself. It's always easier to do with two people, but ultimately what I got him here for, we're going to drywall the ceiling. And that's harder to do than, well, yeah. All right, let's
I'll make a good drywall stand.
Yes, that's right. He's my drywall lifter today. He'll just hold it up and yeah. Yeah,
holding the whole place up.
We only got 2 sheets, so it should be okay. All right, let's get some drywall hung. Whenever you're doing drywall, it's important to do the ceiling first. Almost like put the lid on, and then the walls hold up the lid so the lid doesn't fall down. Well, it's because it's harder to do the ceiling. So do the ceiling first. It makes doing everything else way easier because you get it out of the way. I don't know if it's easier. I don't know. Watch this. Make it real easy. Okay, guys, today is the day we start mudding. This is my favorite part. I'm sure there's more comprehensive videos that show you how to tape. I'm going to show you how I tape. So whenever I'm taping, I like to do my flats first. So whenever there's 2 factory edges lined up together, I do those first. So what I do is I coat the joint with mud, like this. And then I take my paper tape, and there's a natural bend on the tape. It wants to bend a specific way. And what you want to do is you want to take that bend and you want to actually push it into the crack. Oh, those guys, those fancy bazooka tapers, old-fashioned hand taping. Got the little bend. I don't think I had to bend it. Push it into the crack. And that's it. Let it dry and then come back and do a second coat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and do all my flats and then do all my corners and let it dry. Who wants a square room anyways? I do. Well, I kind of want. I want something with fanciness in it. I want a place to put glow accent lighting. I want a place to actually put proper lighting, but I don't want to go up inside the vapor barrier. So I want to keep it down out of the vapor barrier in the living space. I don't have holes in my attic. You can do this in your house. You can do this in your bathroom, in your living room, in your hallway. This is a neat thing, and it doesn't cost a lot of money to do this. It's drywall. It's like the cheapest building material you can imagine, and then you make it fancy. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then I punched it into my little calculator. Every math teacher everywhere. You're never going to have a calculator in your pocket. You're not going to carry one of those around with you everywhere, are you? Turns out I am. And it's going to have a flashlight and a phone. And the entire content of all human knowledge. Imagine that, math teacher. Got everything right here in the phone. Anyways, found the middle of it. We marked the middle of it. Double check. And then what I did is I screwed a chain to the ceiling. Now this thing doesn't stretch, so it makes me a perfect circle all the way around. So what we want to do, make sure my pencil's sharp. It's not sharp enough. Where's my knife? There's my knife. Self-sharpening pencil. Pencil, sharp. Okay, so we take our little guy and we actually stick it through this little hole here. And that allows us to make a nice circle. So I'm going to make, how big of a circle do I want to do? So make sure your chain is tight. And you draw around the room. Ooh, perfect circle. You can't see that, but it's a glorious circle. All right, now we're going to take this out. It'll just be in the way. And then you want to take a laser and make sure you take that center point that you got on the ceiling. You want to transfer it to the floor. And that's going to become useful once we get the board up. Then we use this stuff. This is 1x2 wall angle. It is a very thin piece of steel, and it's used frequently by drywallers that do fancy things. So this is going to have a series of cuts in it. snip, snip, snip all the way around in order for us to make this radius. Now we have the sharpest noodle we can possibly imagine. We screw this to the ceiling. Holy, that's a big circle. That's 20 feet of circle. Once I got to this stage, I actually go around and I screw off every little tab with one drywall screw or two, and usually you splay them out. And that allows the drywall to somewhat hold the up, and you're going to hit a bunch of studs in the process. So you don't got to be too worried. Should stay up. So now that I've got my circle up, I need to get some nailing edges around the side. So what I'm using is a 2x2 steel stud I got left over. I've already got them marked 4 inches down from the ceiling. So now what we do is we actually cut little strips of drywall, and this is the flexible variety, so it actually gives you a little bit of a bend. And then what I'm going to do is actually drop the drywall down from the ceiling, and that gives us our shape. Doesn't that look neat? Okay, so let's tape this. So what I do is I take the paper tape and I cut little pieces off of it, little pieces into it, and so it allows it to bend around the corner. And then I tape it. The reason why I'm taping this beforehand is because there's another layer that goes up above here. And it gives you a little tray to put some accessory lighting above to make the whole thing glow. As we're waiting for the mud to dry, I think this is the perfect opportunity to install this guy. This is a tiny wood stove. It's from a company called Cubic Mini Stoves, and they make little wood stoves. I reached out to these guys and I said, you know what, I'm building this little tree fort basically, and it's this such size. And they said, you know what, this is the Cub Cubic Mini Stove. It is a tiny little wood stove. It's the cutest little thing. Got a tiny little fire brick in there. Look at that. Tiny little fire brick, tiny little door gasket, tiny little air damper. Look at that. Cool thing about it is they send you everything that you possibly need to install it. They got everything on their website that you just kind of like go, I got this, that, and the other thing. And they go, okay. I like wood stoves especially. And this is the coolest wood stove yet. This install is surprisingly easy. So I've got the stove all mounted. It's very secure. It's not. It's like hanging an expensive TV. You want to make sure you get the stud. Make sure she's not moving anywhere. So I opted to get the fresh air intake option with this stove, and what that allows you to do is actually bolt this little guy on the bottom of it, and it's got a little hole in it. And what you do is you pipe this guy to the outside. The idea behind this cube is it's going to be somewhat R2000 style, which is a really well insulated home, all air sealed, gapped, like everything like that. So this has a fresh air intake, so you don't have to leave a window open for fresh air so you don't suffocate, because it does burn oxygen. So you want to have a fresh air oxygen intake. So this is what this guy does. So this guy bolts to the bottom, and then you pipe it outside with a little tube. Now comes the tricky part. This is the part that most people are like worried about doing, and that's cutting a hole through a perfectly good roof. That's what you do in the morning. You have a lot of patience, and you're like dedicated, focused. You don't want to cut too big of a hole. You want to make sure it's the right size. So the manufacturer's recommendations on this is a minimum hole size of 7 inches. And that's because there is a pipe that goes through. Where is it? This pipe goes through, and it's, I believe it's 5 inches. So they want clearance on all sides, and it's insulated. And the other pipe actually slides up through this pipe in order to give you that basically thermal break. So it basically heat shield after heat shield after heat shield in order to prevent your building from burning down. Or camper or marine. Could be a boat. That's got to go up through my perfectly good roof. It'll be fine. They come with flashing. Let's cut a hole. Measure twice. Actually, measure 3 times and then cut once. Okay, so this is the heat shield. This is the thing that basically follows the pipe all the way up. I'm going to put that in temporarily because I haven't drywalled the ceiling yet. So you get different sections. You get 1 foot, 2 foot, whatever you need. And then you basically put it up through the hole. As you can see, here's our insulated double wall pipe coming through the roof. It's a little short. And sometimes that happens. It should come up at least a foot. It's not going to prevent us from actually installing any of the other stuff. So when that shows up, I can slide that guy on. Now we silicone this bad boy. So I'm going to peel it up. I'm going to use a generous amount of silicone. That's the roof gasket, and yeah, little chimney for our mini cubic stove. This is how you hurt your back drywalling. I want to document this. That wasn't so bad. Now, Kevin, why wouldn't you do that cut with a drywall saw? There's a couple of reasons, and the first reason is gross. When you cut above your head with the drywall saw, you usually get to eat drywall dust. I don't like eating drywall dust. I'll cut it with an X-Acto knife. The second reason I don't use the drywall saw is because it actually puts dust up top on the shelf. So this is the little shelf where lighting going to be. But if you put drywall dust up there, you have to clean it off because otherwise nothing will stick. Because I want to I'm going to put another little ledge up here. So there's minimal amount of dust, nice clean cut. Drywall saw, very dusty. Olfa knife, nice and clean. This is the lipstick. This is the lipstick and the mascara of drywall. This stuff here is a product called Trimtex, and what it is, it's a flexible corner bead. So it allows you to go around corners. So what you do is you spray it with glue. It comes with like glue. You spray both sides, let it set up a little bit, and then you stick it on. So the idea behind this guy is I'm going to trim or put corner bead around, and that gives me a nice finished edge to mud to. Oh, that smells good. After putting my Kerdi corner bead on, I usually go around, and anytime there's like a little tab sticking out, I use my tack stapler, and I kind of add a staple to kind of push them in, and it allows the little tabs, if they're sticking out, to stay stuck down until you get the mud on it. I think Trimtex recommends using divergent staples. I've never seen a divergent staple. This just seems to work okay. Now comes the part where we mud it, and it's always easier to mud a room when there's nothing in the room. That includes you guys. I'm going to mud it, and then we'll check back with you when it's done, because you guys don't want to watch me mud this, and you guys are just getting in the way. All right, I'll check back with you when it's done being mudded. Okay, guys, just like that, the drywall is done. You didn't even get to see the sanding. Oh my, that's not my favorite part. Yeah, I'd just rather somebody else do that. So everything's sanded, everything's kind of cleaned up. I did a little wet mop to try to get rid of all the dust. But again, you can see it turned out pretty good. We got some paint to go. Some painting and flooring and some trim and some decor. A bed, a table. We got her all painted up. Now we're ready for finishes. So this is just a regular, I believe, incandescent rope light. They come in varying lengths. You can add more lengths. You just kind of tack them on at the end. And this makes stuff glow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck it up above the tray ceiling. Just like this. Gives it a nice little shelf. I don't have the battery pack today, so I'm not gonna turn it on, but you guys get to see that at the end. We're gonna do some flooring now. So we got some hardwood floor, bang it all down. Went to my favorite flooring store, Bigelow Flooring, and they had some of this stuff left over. Now it's I need about 60 square feet or so. So this is engineered hardwood floor. It is 3/4 thick by 6.5 inches wide. It's some nice stuff. So this stuff should be more accepting of the temperature changes and the humidity changes and whatnot. But again, we're roughing it out here. Cool Tool Time is an engineered flooring stapler. It is made by a company called Bostitch. It drives narrow crown staples through the tongue of the hardwood floor. Now, a lot of people will go out when they do a floor job in their own home and they don't have the special tools, they'll go rent one. Now, I'm not a really big fan of renting, primarily because you always feel like you got to go fast because you're renting it and it costs so much a day or so much an hour and you rush through the job. My opinion is go buy the tool, finish your job at your leisure, and at the end of it, take the tool if you don't need it anymore and sell it. There's lots of used markets. You could sell it for, like, you could just, even if you wanted to deduct the cost of what it would cost you to rent it every day and sell it for there. You recoup all your money. You didn't rush. You had the tool. You know it's brand new. It hasn't been abused. Buy the tool, sell it at the end of the job. Well, if you like the tool, hang on to it. Cubic Mini Stove sent me these little coffee mugs. Aren't they cute? They're stainless steel and they fit right on top of the stove, so you can actually heat up your coffee on. Oh, hey guys, welcome to the Cube. So I'm going to give you a tour of my crib, but first, let's turn the power on. You guys don't actually know that this thing is powered by it's 1100 watt lithium pack by Energy. If we turn the power on, this guy can be charged by solar, or you can plug it into your house and charge it up and bring it along with you. That gives us house power. So we've got 110 line voltage. Here's our switches because the door actually comes in through the floor. We're not going to open that up right now, but so we can click the switch as you come up, and you can see that we've got a little bit of accent lighting in the ceiling. We'll turn the lights off, and then we can actually showcase the glow. So at nighttime, when you're laying in bed, you're thinking, man, this is cool. You can have your nicely glow. Anyways, let's turn the lights back on. So lights back on. This tray ceiling is the cheapest way to add extreme value to any room in your house. It's literally 2 sheets of drywall. What, $20? Turn your 8x8 room into $1 million. Well, maybe not that much. You could add tens of thousands of dollars by adding drywall to an existing room. This is just a rope light. You can get these anywhere, but you can get, you know what's really cool is for Halloween or Christmas is you can change them to color changing LEDs, but you can, it just plugs in. As you can see, there's a door out to the outside, and this is designed to be a wraparound deck. As you can see, it is not quite done yet. It's quite the drop, actually. It's about 8 feet off the ground. So that thing we're going to keep closed for now. Built a couple of features with this guy. We've got our nice little coat hook, little rack, nice piece of cherry, some little maple pegs for the coat hook. And then we can see our fold down Murphy bed. This is a repurposed IKEA frame. You can kind of see it here. So it's got slats and then a repurposed piece of foam, a duvet. And what's cool about this is when you're done, if you want more space, maybe for dancing, you can flip it up, fold up, fold down, gives you a little bit more space. If you got more guests, maybe you're having a dinner party. Functional windows, so when it gets a little too hot in here, you got double hung, up and down. That's getting a little toasty in here. So this brings us on to over here. We got a little bit of storage, a little coffee table, dual purpose coffee table, acts as storage bin, got some wood carving tools in there for right now. It's a balsam tree we saved when we were building the cube. I figured, you know what, another life in the cube. There for now. Probably find another spot for him permanently because he's not going to live very long in the cube. We've got some made some wall hung shelving out of some old hemlock we had sitting here. We've got some Native American corn. Some pretty neat stuff. Some old seashells from my childhood. I think my grandma collected them. We got some maple syrup here where we got we harvested this actually from the bush around here, and we got some adobo spices. Adobo spices. Some tea lights for some ambiance. We got a little balsam here. That brings me to the actual thing that heats this thing, which is the mini cubic stove. This is the guy here. So this is the cub, and you can see it burning here. So this is our little wood stove. This thing's amazing. Actually, it makes the space. It's truly well designed. It's well put together. The structure, it's well built. It's Canadian made too. Did you know that? Anyways, cubic mini stove. It's a real wood burning stove. Takes 5-inch wood. There's a little damper on it. You got a little damper with a little back thing. You can actually cook on here if you want to, or you want to warm up your cup of coffee. Sits on top there. You can warm it up. And you know what's really neat is actually you can purchase little tiny little tools. So when you want to move your wood inside, you can move your wood. You got your ash scoop and your poker. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna build myself a wraparound deck. Come to the realization that the cube is indeed very cool. We just need a little bit more outdoor space. So what the plan is today is to build a wraparound deck. So we shut the hatch, open the door, out the deck. So this was the plan all along. So we got down there. There's a very big drop. Let's show you what, let's give you a little tour. You want a little tour? Let's go take a look. We're going down the hatch. Down the hatch we go. We started digging the post. We got 8 holes dug. We've got some of our pressure treated wood. It looks like a little archaeological dig. We got our string. We got a string arrow set out. We got our posts all dug. We've got some old deck wood that we salvaged from a deck tear out. Don's here, and we dug the posts. Are you excited for that, Don? We dug the posts without Don being here, actually.
No digging, just filling today.
That's right. We're gonna fill in the holes. We got her all set. So yeah, it's a nice day. Nice sun shining. Birds are chirping, kinda. And people were asking about the relation from the cube to the outhouse. So there is facilities here. So we're gonna take a walk to the facility. It's about 200 yards away. A root cellar, food preservation, storage, main cabin, outhouse. Still smells delicious. Okay, we're gonna build a deck. So, all right, so we're gonna get started. So when making an omelet, or in this case a deck, sometimes you gotta break some eggs. Does that make any sense? This is a tree that's in the way. This is not a really big tree. Oh, it's a tall tree. This is ash, and it's been infected by the emerald ash borer. It's going all over North America, and it's basically killing every single ash tree in sight. There is no real cure for it. It was a bug imported from China, and it's infected all our North American ash trees. So this one is in the way, and it's very tall. So we've got to remove it. It's actually butt up against this nice elm tree, which has its own issues, but we currently healthy. We're just going to take this one down, and guess where it's going to land? Gonna land right in the pond. We're gonna make a little bit of a splash because we gotta get rid of it. All right, let's cut this thing down. Generally, it's advisable to use pressure treated wood whenever you're building anything outdoors. In this case, I happen to have a bunch of 2x8 pressure treated wood that I was actually able to use for the deck. Start with my ledger board, and I used lag bolts in order to attach them to the building that I'm screwing them into. In this case, it is a wood building, so I can use regular wood lags. But if you were attaching to concrete, you would use concrete lags. It's another successful trip to the lumber store. These are cedar trees that were damaged. Either the tops broke off and they were dangling, either the ice storm or wind. So it's good to get these out of the way, manage the forest, because otherwise you get forest fires, and forest fires are bad. So pull the dead standing out. Hey, you can either pile it, you can burn it, you can use it. It's good to keep your forest managed. So these are the posts that are going to be used for the deck. It's like carbon sequestering, where you use the wood as opposed to burn the wood. It's all about using what you have to build what you want. What you doing there, Don?
Trying to peel the bark off. It's a cedar with a draw knife.
Is it a sharp draw knife?
It is pretty good, actually. My compliments to the sharpener.
Why are we peeling the post?
I guess so the bark doesn't rot off
Uh-huh.
and cause problems with the rotting of the actual post.
We're moving right along here. We've got our posts more or less set. We're just starting the rough framing of the deck, which is the 2x8 structure. This is an old deck that we had removed, and we thought, this is actually going back a couple of years we saved this stuff, not knowing that the price of lumber during these times would go like skyrocket. I did some Googling and I checked out the price of 6x6 pressure treated posts, and they were $61 Canadian, which is insane. And then they wanted the 2x8 16 footers. They're 45 bucks. I was like, that's insane. It's good to save stuff. Maybe I should just sell it. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, framing with round posts that are different sizes, but we're making it work. We've got a pretty square. We started off with a really square cube, and level, so you can see how it's coming along. Framing out this bad boy. Our material is only 12 feet long, so we're gonna make do. I don't know, it looks pretty substantial to me. I love being in the bush in the fall. Once your deck is all framed up, it's a good idea to actually go around and add blocking wherever you think it's necessary. Sometimes on your drawings, it'll actually dictate where your blocking should go. Slight design change. I've decided I want to be able to kind of be welcomed into underneath the cube. So I'm going to move the center. Actually, I'm not going to move it. Well, I am going to move it, but I'm going to add 2 posts. And it allows me to go in, and there's going to be a little bump out here for a fire pit on the 2nd floor. Hey guys, next day, we've got quite the progress on that deck, but we need some deck board. I like to start at the mill. We got some old spruce logs here. Actually, this is from cast off from a city job of an arborist that I know. He drops these guys off because they're basically somebody's waste. So I'm going to take this log and I'm going to turn it into deck boards. So I got my Norwood Lumber Pro HD 36. This thing will cut up to a 36-inch log. It'll do a 28-inch board. It is powered by 23 horsepower Vanguard engine. You know what? For the cost of lumber these days, this is more or less essential to have some sort of access to a sawmill. Once you got past the initial purchase price, it's money in the bank. You could mill lumber for other people and pay for the thing pretty darn quick. Norwood Lumber Pro HD 36. It's a great tool to have. I'm curious, does anybody else save their fast food cups? Like I tend to save anytime I get a fast food cup. I put like nuts and bolts and screws and stuff, and they're great for like when you need to mix something maybe that you don't want to use afterwards, like, you know, varnish or like you're mixing epoxy, or even if you're starting a campfire with diesel fuel, you just fill it up a little bit, dump it on the fire, and away you go. After milling all the boards, we ended up just rough placing them on top of the deck. We're going to run a chalk line from end to end and then cut them off flush with the front of the deck. This is a spruce or it's a pine. I can't really tell. It's not weather treated, but what I'm going to do is allow it like a year or so to weather and then might put a solid stain on it to preserve it, because it won't really take the stain right now because it's a little too fresh. The spacing is, even with finger width, it is going to shrink a little bit, and the idea is to let it breathe. I don't want to collect forest floor on top of it. I want the air to actually flow through. Anything that can dry out generally doesn't rot. These little spaces will allow it for a little bit of air movement. Now that we got all the deck boards on, roughly where they should be, we've chalk lined all the way around, and we're going to cut it out with the chainsaw because my batteries are getting low and I've got lots of gas. Safety first. How's the pond? Is it cold? Oh, there's you. Well, guys, I think fall has finally set in. It's a chilly one today. It's a little more difficult working when it's cold. Your fingers are frozen. We're making some pretty good progress. I got some big plans for today. Hopefully we can get some progress done. It's getting going. It's getting moving. It's getting get everything thought out. The plan. I love the plan. So you can see our deck is coming along, but we need a little place for a fire cooking area out here. So what I'm going to build is a Romeo and Juliet balcony. So like a little bump out here. We'll make it curved. Ideally, we would have extended the deck this way and then have a post and a beam. We're not going to do that. We're gonna laminate some plywood together and then extend some structure out, maybe some tie back with some threaded rod. It's got to support a fireplace. It's not really intended for people to be walking on. It's just more like a decorative feature on the front of this thing. Give us a little bit more space so we're not sitting on top of the fireplace. Fireplace isn't sitting on top of us. I collected some posts. So these posts they're cedar posts. They're basically collected from all around the property from other trees that we cut down. We just figured, why waste them when we can just reuse them. I've got some more deck boards, and we're gonna build. Let's start building. Okay, so I got my Juliet balcony built. I didn't use pressure treated plywood. I didn't have any. I didn't use pressure treated wood. I used regular 3/8 plywood. I quadrupled layered. And what I'm going to do is put a blue skin roof on it, and that'll prevent the water from getting down into the cracks. And then I can deck it like I normally would deck it. That should keep the water out of the end of the plywood. In order to make my railing, I ended up taking I guess it's about a 5 or 6 inch diameter, 7 inch, 8 inch diameter cedar, and then I notched a little thing with my chainsaw. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna temporarily tack them on the front of the fascia board. I guess it's not the fascia board. That's the ringer of the deck, and then I'm going to plumb them and then lag them in. I'm installing all the dual posts temporarily with 5-inch screws, and then what I can do afterwards, because they're all cut posts, I'm going to take them, put the railing on top of everything, and then level it as I go, because we're working with natural material. Nothing is the same size, so you kind of want to snip and chop afterwards, and you can get everything perfect. Once I've got everything temporarily attached, I'm going to use lag bolts in order to secure the posts to the ringer board. We want to be able to cook on this deck, but it's made of wood. And if we cook on the deck made of wood, it's going to make our entire cube into a hibachi. And we don't want to do that. We don't light it on fire. So what I've done is I've taken a 100-pound propane tank. We're going to cut it up. We're going to fashion ourselves a wood-burning barbecue. I've got an old grill made of stainless steel. We're going to fashion the tank basically into a makeshift barbecue. We're going to suspend it from chains from post to post, and that gives us a nice little cooking area out front of our cube in order for us to basically stay in the cube, not get on the ground, self-contained. Everything will work out great. Dawn just informed me that this may not be a 100-pound tank. It may be a 50 or 60 or an 80. I don't know. Anyway, it's going to work perfectly for our purpose. The plan is to cut along this edge here all the way around, and it gives us a nice little area for our cooking grill to be. And then we can slide it from side to side in order to move our coals. If we want more heat one side, we can move our grill one side, or we can move it the other, or we can move our coals. It's multi-purpose. And then we're going to suspend it from chains. Let's get cutting. Or is it grinding? It's grinding. Let's grind. There was bees in there. This is the grill, and this is going to go like this. I might need to make it a little bit bigger, or like this, depending on how you want the thing. And then all your wood goes in here, suspended by chains. Doesn't light the whole thing on fire. I'm pretty sure it's going to work. Curious where I got this chain from? There's a garage door guy that should give a shout out to my garage door guy, Dominic. He gave me this chain because I guess they send a bunch of spare parts every time they does a garage door install. Same with the garage door that we used for the door on the cube. These are spare parts for garage door install that he just has laying around that he easily scraps for scrap metal. And he's like, well, if you want them, have them. So we're going to repurpose them to hold our barbecue up. The safest way I can think of doing this is suspending it in the air. So the plan is we're going to take some chains and we're going to suspend them from this post, and then we're going to attach it to this post and this post and this post. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little bit of length so I can actually lower the fire pit down low if I want it low, if I'm sitting around it and I want a campfire style, or if I want to cook on it, I can raise it up to cooking level. Sounds cool too. Boom. You know what? You can be a big bell. Okay, let's get screwing. Perfect. Just need the backside a little higher. Meaning the screws could go a little lower. Dinner time. Space drums. The haunting sounds of the forest played on a 100-pound propane tank. Or 60 or 50, I don't know what size. So now that we've got the tank hung, it appears as though it's going to work just fine. Check this out. We've got our tank suspended in midair with chains. It looks like it's a little wiggly. You know what? I think it's shock absorbing. So when it's windy, you don't lose your burger off the edge. It's kind of like... The main thing is that we've got this thing up off the ground. It's not going to light our deck on fire. It's not going to light our... Well, it might light our posts on fire, but that's okay. We got lots of posts. I think it's far enough away that it might make the post steam a little bit. Yeah. I think this will adequately suit our cooking needs. Look at that. It's actually, you know what I like the best about it? It matches. Look, it's the same color as the deck and the leaves. It's got the rusted patina. I like it. Now we're one step closer to living in this cube. We've got our cooking area. We've got our fresh water over here. Probably needs a filter, maybe a Brita. We're well on our way for life in the cube. We've got a little bit more finishing up to do. We've got the top rails to do. We've got the safety lower rails to do. That's going to require a little bit of effort, some time. It started to rain, typical for fall. starts to rain. I don't, every year I think it's not going to rain, and then it does. It just rains. From laziness? No, we cut this out of butt joint to conserve material. When you cut on a 45, you need your material to be extra long and you waste. This is a cube, so we're making all our joints square, butt joints. What I say is safety eventually. Our plan here is to take this piece of ash, fine piece of ash, and we're going to install it about 2 feet off the ground. This is going to prevent the little people from falling through the edge, is to notch out of this post a little bit of material in order for this not to stick out too far and bang your knee off of it. We're attaching one more change. So we're going to have 4 points of contact as opposed to 3 points of contact to match the fact that we've got 4 posts on the cube. We're going to put 4 posts, attachment points, on our hot dog here. Hopefully it doesn't go like this. You got your cooking area here and you got your cooling off area over here. How convenient is that? You just, I think this is going to work. It's like a DJ booth. You just back a dance party on the pond when it freezes. A winter dance party. We're making furniture now. I'm going to take a piece of countertop that's left over and I'm going to add some legs to it. And essentially we got ourselves a little coffee table for the outside of the deck. We're all done building the deck. Let's take a tour. Let's do a show and tell of the wraparound deck on the cube. Here's our mother-in-law door, as the one guy in the comment mentioned. It's not a mother-in-law door anymore. It's more of a, it's got the deck on it. Okay, guys, let's go for a tour of the deck. This is all, we're all done. Look at the view. You get to see the wildlife. You're amongst the trees. This is like ultimate tree fort. This is my happy place. This is what I enjoy. I enjoy being in the trees, being in the forest. Back of the deck, you can see all the way around. We've got our causeways to get to the front. So you come out the back door, you come over to the front area here. We've got our cook station, our wood fire cook station with our repurposed propane tank. We're gonna cook some, we're gonna give that a test run. We've got our some pumpkins we've harvested from the garden out front. Got our tiny firewood, actually our mini firewood for our mini cubic stove. That's there. We got our Muskoka chair over here. We've got some nice foliage. Silver is a Japanese red maple. So we've got a nice little area here. You can actually probably fit 2 Muskoka chairs up here comfortably. Got, if you look out front, you've got the pond. You guys got to stay tuned for wintertime because this is going to be the ultimate hockey rink. Ice skating rink, hockey rink. I think we're going to do some skating in the winter. Once that thing freezes over, we're going to make some boards, some nets. Game of pickup hockey. My brother, the Wooded Beardsman, he's okay at hockey. We'll see if he wants to come out and play on a Holden. Holden's good at hockey. I'm just going to give the wood burner a test run just to make sure everything works okay with that. Today, as promised, we are going up. And when I mean up, I mean a rooftop terrace. We're going to build a rooftop sitting area on top of the cube. Original plan was to build a covered rooftop area. My brain kicked in. It's too heavy. Don't do this, Kevin. It's a bad idea. Common sense prevailed, and I said, no, we're going to make a sitting area and some grass, a nice little lounging area, maybe some twinkling lights, patio lanterns, bird's nest in the bush on top of the cube. I think the best place to get started is right close to home. This is a poplar tree. It was dangerously close to the cabin. It was dead, really dead. It was standing there and it actually was taunting the cube. It kept actually puking branches onto it. It direct hit it once with a fairly large size diameter branch. Maybe it just wanted to be included. It was just like, I'm right here. Why can't I be a part of the cube? Whenever I want to make something straight like a handrail, I like to start with a straight log. This guy's pretty straight. It has a little hook at the bottom. When you put it on the sawmill, anytime when you actually sawmill the thing, it's going to want to make it straight. So if you have a crooked log, it basically takes that and makes it into junk. So the straighter the log, the better your board's going to be, the more yield you get out of the log itself. So I'm going to straighten this guy out. I'm going to cut it roughly the length, and then I can trim off each side to make it fit. This is the original canopy I'd planned for above the cube. As you can see, it was 12 feet and the cube's only 8. See how the engineering nightmare that would have been and the safety issues. I scrapped that idea, but this thing isn't going to be wasted. It's a pretty darn good roof. It's 12 feet by 12 feet. So I'll save this for another project. We're gonna go to the lumber store. We're gonna pick up some more wood. This is basically the remnants of the feet on the cube. So we're gonna use the tops of these trees. These are the old cedar trees. We left the foliage for the wild animals to eat. Bunnies really like cedar in the winter, so this is gonna get piled here. The bunnies are gonna eat it. We're gonna harvest some posts. There's an airplane flying above me. Everything's gonna work out. You gonna say hi, Don? Oh, hello, yes. Don's like, get this camera out of my face. All right. You look angelic with all that wood there, Don.
I feel angelic.
You feel angelic today? Those are our railing posts, and they're going to act to hold the handrail around the rooftop terrace to make sure we're safe when we don't fall off the cube. We wouldn't want to do that, would we? We're going to start building we're going to build a ladder on it to go up, then we can be on top. Now that we've notched the sides of the stringer, we've inset our step into the stringer to give us a little bit more support. The step is actually sitting on the stringer as opposed to just sitting on top of the stringer. And then we've added a couple of nails and a screw for added measure just to hold it down. We actually added the screw to hold it there, and then we nailed it in place. That's the best of both worlds. So let's see if it fits. All right, works pretty good. The problem is the actual stringer is sitting on top of the deck, but it's not quite flush on the bottom of the deck. So what I'm going to do, use a T-square, or my speed square, which is another handy tool on its own. This is a handy tool, speed square. This guy's made of aluminum. It's one of the most useful tools for framing. Now, I'm using it to scribe the angle of the stringer in order to sit flat on the deck, and it's less likely to kick out when you're on it. We're also going to secure it with a chain so we can tuck it up against the wall. When we're not using it, we want to walk around unobstructed. And again, another added safety so it doesn't just kick out. We're on top of the cube. A rooftop terrace is well on its way. We've got a special product for the roof. It is fake grass. We got an interesting product. Let's throw it up here and get it rolled out. We're gonna fit the size. Wall to wall. No, there's no walls. We're gonna grass it. Wall to wall grass, but there's no walls. Edge to edge. Edge to edge grass on the second floor of the cube. Hey, Don, you gonna carry that stuff up?
Partway. Then it's all up to you.
Oh. There, let me grab it. All right. Okay, you did it all by yourself pretty much. Oh, I don't have a knife. Look at that stuff. It's like wallpaper for the floor. Popping the cap off, and then we're going to go right on top of that. We've got a chimney extension they sent me. We wanted to get above the grass line. I originally installed it was a little short, so now we've got our extra pipe. We can add it on. It gives us enough clearance, and hopefully it's up far enough above our grass that it doesn't light our grass on fire, which I don't think it will. I'm pretty confident. So that guy's double wall, and then this guy's got insulation inside of it, which further insulates the pipe, because your chimney pipe should be insulated, and basically you want it as warm as it possibly can before it makes its way out. Otherwise you have creosote builds up. That's how you have chimney fires. Cap. It's a company called Rymar makes this stuff, and it's Everblade 50, I believe, this stuff. So it's you can replace your grass in your front yard with this stuff. You never have to mow it. It's I bet you there's a comb for it, and it stands up. It was just flattened down, but like this stuff's perfect for this situation because we don't really have to do anything. Imagine trying to get a lawnmower up here. It's lightweight. I didn't want to put too much weight on top of here, so this is our terrace. This is pretty cool. All right, let's get our post in. In order to trim it, you basically use an X-Acto knife, and it's actually quite easy because you got little guidelines on the back of it, and you can just run your knife. And it's just like that. It's kind of like, it's like installing carpet. Cut it to size. just like that. And you've got your easy to cut, easy to install. Rymar. The link is going to be in the description below if you guys want to check this stuff out. It's Rymar Everblade 50. Who didn't think of doing this? I was told by the flooring supplier over at Bigelow that I have to drive some balls off this cube. I got my wood. Let's see what I can hit. Got my teeth. All right, don't fall off the cube. All right, don't fall off the cube. Oh, Jesus. You see that? That was like perfect try. That was awesome. Oh, I stuffed it. Too many trees in the way. Oh, nailed it. Oh, dumped it. To make this a whole lot easier, we're going to start on the ground. We're going to start by cutting the handrails on a 45-degree angle so we can put them up, and then basically go up on top of the roof and put it together. So we've got our posts, our handrails, our cross members, everything. We've got it pre-cut. We just got to put it together. Easy, right? Okay, and then pull your post. Actually, that's better. Way better. Now that we've got our basic structure in, we're just going to infill all the middle posts in order to complete the structure of the deck. So far, so good. You can see our turf. That stuff's awesome. Look at that stuff. Look how shiny and green. This is going to be like all year round. You don't have to water this stuff. You don't have to mow it. You can probably just sweep it and comb it. Grab your comb out here and you can comb your grass. So yeah, we just got to get our more posts. Get our more posts in here. See our pond? Look at that nice ball pond. I know my brother, he's the wooded beardsman. He'll be up here probably taking shots at things. Maybe I'll have to put a lock on the ladder so he can't get up. Anyways, we're just gonna finish up the posts. I think for today we're losing light. Days are getting shorter. It's getting colder. You can see my winter jacket's gone. Don's got his winter jacket on. Right?
No.
No, he's got 19 layers of clothes on. How many t-shirts you got on there? You got two t-shirts, a sweater,
A hoodie, and my jacket.
Oh, jeez. I know a fun fact. Fun fact: if you have an open porch on your front door and it doesn't have a railing, generally people stay back from the edge because they don't want to fall off that edge. But if you add a railing and you think it may feel like you're closing in your space, you're actually giving people more space because they'll get right to the edge because they're not worried about falling off. So railings sometimes add space as opposed to giving you the idea of it taking it away. We're going to get some more stuff done. Get this thing. We got some cross members, some horizontal cross members to put in. And we can maybe make a coffee table. All right, we got our rooftop terrace, our bird's nest, if you will. And then we got to water it. It's grass on the roof. Build some furniture, some chairs. Maybe some pallet furniture. I don't know. We'll see what we got laying around. I got a pretty cool coffee table I want to build. All right, we're going to build some furniture. Now that we're finished the rooftop terrace, it's time to furnish it with some furnishings, some furniture. I've got a plan. So my plan is take some old pallet wood. I've looked on Pinterest and I thought, yeah, that's the way to do it. Let's build some furniture out of some pallet wood. We've got it. Why not use it? But I've got a quick tip. For anybody that's trying to do pallet wood furniture, keep your pallets outside. Let them get wet. That is the easiest way to take them apart. They come apart real easy without breaking. I know a lot of people out there have taken pallets apart and they get frustrated because they're not wet. So let the wood get wet. Water them with a garden hose if you have to. We're going to build a lounge chair, believe a coffee table. All right, let's get building. What you doing there, Don?
I'm denailing these slats that we've already taken apart.
Are they relatively easy to take apart?
Actually, they are really easy to take apart. Of course, both pieces are softwood, so that makes it a little easier. But and getting rid of the nails so we don't step on them.
Yeah, that's the important part, not stepping on nails. So this is the lounging area. Is this table going to support me? So what we need to do because we need a place to lounge. That's a good spot. You get your feet dangling off the edge, then you need to have a back support. So if we make something that fits this cushion, we should be good shape. So to make legs, we're going to notch out this piece of the post in order for it to sit flush against there, and then it gives you more surface area, and in theory, more structural support, so the legs don't fall off, because you wouldn't want your legs falling off. Couldn't resist using a little bit of our decking material for the cube. We got this just laying around, so this is 1 inch by, I don't know, what is it, 1 inch by 1 by 10. So we use that as a back. How solid is our? Oh, that's nice. Oh, it is nice. It's actually quite comfortable. Who knew? So what we did was you added another 8 inches up to the end of it to make sure your feet are nice and supported. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. All we need now is a table. We've taken an ash log that we've had laying around and we've cut ourselves a cookie. What, I guess that's the term. Is it the term of the industry, a cookie? When you call a small slice of wood? This is an ash tree, big one. And we've got our legs. These are ash legs as well. And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make it like a tripod. These don't blow away in the wind. Now we take it and we trim off the legs a little bit. $23-ish. It's pretty solid too if it wasn't on a tippy table. If only we had a fridge up here. That's our firewood for our mini cubic stove. I guess if you guys haven't seen the build of the inside of this cube, this is the actual interior of the cube. We just built the terrace on top. Figured I'd give you guys a little sneak peek of on the inside. So we've got the inside. We've got our little cubic mini stove here, and that's what we were splitting wood for. That's a lot of wood for that little tiny stove. That little tiny stove takes 5-inch long wood. It's always good to have wood ready before you need it. Sits there and dries out a little bit more too. We got a couple more things to do. Figured I'd give you guys a little show inside. Just buttoning up some loose ends. This is the doorknob that's going in now, and I wasn't sure quite how to do it because this is not a standard door, it's a garage door. So what I've done is I've actually taken a standard doorknob I had kicking around, and I've actually mortised it in like you would normally put a door in, but then I had to chip away the actual side of the door in order to get it flat. As you can see, it seems to work okay. Nice and tight, nice and secure. Raccoons won't sneak in, and wouldn't want the raccoons in my bed. Have I talked about my knob enough? Let's move on to the next project. Actually, I want to show you something. This is something that you could actually use in your own house. This little latch here has a adjustment here. If your door doesn't close tightly, most of the latches, the catch plates have this little tab here, and you could use your flathead screwdriver and adjust it. If you pry it out more, it means the door closes more tightly. Tool time again. I don't think I've done one of these in a little while, so I figured I would do it now. Now this guy is an impact driver. It's made by Makita. It's been around the bend. I've had it for many years now. It's a DTD152 Makita impact driver. It's got the removable batteries, a little battery indicator on the side. So if you're doing heavy duty stuff, you got your 3 amp hour. I think they go up to 5 amp hour, meaning the amount of battery power that's in the battery. So if you're doing a lot of drilling, driving really long screws, the bigger amp hour will give you more power. And then if you're doing light stuff, you can always switch to this slimline battery, which actually makes your tool significantly lighter. The reason why I picked Makita is because it's the lightest tool. I believe it's the lightest tool on the market. Generally, when I'm doing work, it's a lot of detailed work, it's a lot of overhead work. And this drill, it just feels good. It's well balanced, it's well made. I like it. It's got a little light on it. See the light? You thought it was a gimmick when it first came out. You're like, why do I need a light on my drill? It's very useful. While I'm at it, I might as well talk about this guy. This is a drill. It's got a standard chuck. You can add drill bits to it. It's got a hammer option, so you can hammer drill if you're going into concrete or whatnot. Again, the same battery system, so you got your on and off. I have a charger here. I can plug it in, and then I plug it into my Jackery power pack. Then I can top the batteries up that way. And then that in turn is charged by solar, and then it gets back into my drill. So it all works out okay. Grand scheme of things, these batteries generally last all day, so I'm usually tired before the battery is. You ever get that list of stuff you never really get done? That's today's project. Figure I'm gonna do some paint touch-ups as well. I never really got around the door jamb on this guy. So is there any other better time to paint than right now? I think winter's coming, so if I don't get this done before winter, it's not going to get done. It's always good. I always like to touch up my trim once I've got the door set. Everything's set. Everything's mortised in. To chip in any of the wood, I can fill it and paint it. Sometimes your suggestions help out. This was suggested in the comments to put basically a deck access from the outside that you don't have to go through the cube. So I've basically built a ladder, threw it up, and now you have access to the back deck. So you can actually scurry on up the ladder to get up to the deck, and then you can actually scurry on up the other ladder to get up to the terrace. And the reason why I offset that is because you don't want to go up a ladder and then up another ladder right away. You want to be able to just kind of relax in the middle and then carry on your journey. Just keep buttoning these things off the list. Okay, so I think we're gonna go. We're gonna build I think a bar stool. Like sitting by the edge of the deck, maybe enjoying your coffee. Maybe we'll use some more pallet wood, make a little bar stool. Why build with pallet wood? They're free. The companies that use pallets are almost begging you to take them away. You can find them generally in most industrial area. They have them laying up by the side of the road. Sometimes they'll have a sign that says free, or it's implied that it's free. A lot of the times on Marketplace on Facebook or on Kijiji or Craigslist, they'll have listings where you can, they maybe have them tucked away out back, and then some of them you just find just driving by. So if you have a truck and you're willing to do a little bit of labor, you can get a lot of this building material for free. The other thing is that actually you can actually find the fasteners as well. So you can remove the nails, you can straighten the nails, reuse them, and some of the really, really big skits have lag bolts and nuts and washers and stuff like that. So you save a lot of money on hardware that way by collecting the stuff that otherwise people are just throwing out. So we're taking a pallet wood and we're going to make a high top bar stool in order to sit by our railing to overlook the pond. All right, we got our bar stool. Or is it a terrace stool? Nice and comfy spot. Got overlooking the pond. Got your spot for your drink. It's all about buttoning up loose ends. So I've got the lid for my grill. The handle, old purpose, repurposed handle. Got some old hinges, repurposed again, and keep the water out when you're ready to grill. Open her up. It also doubles as a protection for the handrail. Button up those loose ends. Decoration time. I got some LED lights because it's never too early for Christmas. Interesting fact, the LED lights, there's 2 strings of them, 37 feet long, total of 7 watts. 7 watts total on those lights. That's pretty good. You can't really, it's not like the old school lights where they'd be real bright during the day. I think it has to be nighttime for us to get the full effect of the, maybe I'll wait till it gets dark and come back and you guys can see that. But in the meantime, I think I might relax a little bit. I got my coffee up here, the birds squawking in the background. You got the heavy pallet stool. So you can come and you can sit down over here. You can, I don't know if you can, it's hard to portray just how nice it is. I might have mentioned earlier in the video, but I'm going to mention them again. This is Rymar Everblade 50. I guess it's grass. It's fake grass. It's pretty darn real to me. It's AstroTurf, or I don't know, that's probably a brand name. Anyways, it's Rymar is the company, and it's called Everblade 50. The link will be in the description below if you want to check it out. It's great stuff. It's been through a couple of rains so far. It's got little drainage holes on the bottom of it. the brown thatch that's weaved inside the grass, which gives you an authentic look. Best of all, you don't have to cut it. It doesn't grow. Perfect solution for our rooftop terrace. It covers it, it's a beautiful product. I love it. It's great stuff. Anyways, the link will be in the description below if you want to check it out. Again, Rymar Everblade 50. Hey guys, welcome to the first overnight at the cabin and the cube. Story on this little bad boy here. This is my go-kart from my childhood. I saved up all my money one summer and I bought this guy in the fall. This is a dingo, and it's made by a company called Manco, and I probably bought it nearly 20 years ago. I just replaced the engine. It had a Briggs & Stratton on there. I got a Honda GX 160 on there, and it's good for booting around the bush. It doesn't have much ground clearance as long as you don't hit a stump. They're pretty good. Yeah, maintain your stuff. Change your oil. Things last a long time. It's
cozy.
Isn't it cozy? Look at see the ceiling? That's pretty neat, eh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, glowy. So we're gonna light up the well, maybe we'll light that up a little bit later. We don't really need the heat right now. But
it's gonna give you the ambience for one.
They all from the cube. See the little mugs they sent me? You got little cubic mini stove mugs.
Oh yeah.
They're neat.
Keep the coffee warm.
That's right. You can put it right on top of the little stove. While we wait for that fire to go, that's what, our 5th fire today?
Yeah, six technically.
6th. That's our 6th fire we've lit. We've got the pizza oven going. We got the smoker oven going. We've got the cube going. We've got the outdoor fire pit going, and now we're gonna light the mini cubic stove inside to keep her warm. That's the Jackery Power Pack, and that is what's going to power this little guy. The Jackery Explorer 1000 allows us to power this cube. So we turn the lights on. Look at that. A 1000 watt lithium pack. It can be charged by either solar, or you can plug it into the wall. You can plug it into a cigarette lighter adapter on your car, so you can charge it that way. There's many ways to charge it, and it's lightweight and it's quiet. It doesn't. It has a little fan for the inverter that turns on and off when it needs to. Otherwise, you're pretty much self-sufficient. You get this thing, you plug it in, and away you go. Portable power. This is working better than I ever imagined it ever would. We've got our burgers cooking. We've got our bacon cooking. I'm going to, Grant's going to take care of that because he's better at cooking. Anybody's better at cooking than me. I'm going to warm up the cube because, as you guys all know, this is the first night at the cube. So let's fire up the mini cubic stove. What's great about this stove is that it's small. It takes tiny little wood. Where's my torch? Look at that. That looks delicious. Oh. Uh-oh.
She's on a little sign.
More bacon. I'd eat it. I'd eat it still. Oh, you know what? It's great about this cube. Can you hear anything? Nothing. It's so quiet. So yeah, I'm just getting ready for bed. See you guys in the morning. All right. Have a good night. Egg sandwich time. Let's see if we can put one together on the mini cubic stove and a tiny little frying pan to get our day started. That was interesting. It was talking on camera right in the morning. That's something. The results. The cube was very quiet. It's still very quiet. That's mini cubic stove provided a lot of warmth. It was nice and toasty in here. Nice and quiet. Just the way I like it.